Hello and welcome to another edition of the program, The Eagle. This program is designed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC in order to bring to you a recap of activities within the Commission. I'm your regular host, Aisha Gambari. On today's edition, we take a look at highlights of activities at the Fountain University Osogbo's 7th graduation ceremony and 10th anniversary, where acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, urged Nigerians to support the current administration in the fight against corruption and engage in the fight like a jihad in order to free Nigeria from the grips of the monster. Here are the details. The acting chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Ibrahim Magu, has urged Nigerians to support the current administration in the fight against corruption and engage in the fight like a jihad in order to free Nigeria from the grip of the corrupt persons. Magu made this remark in a lecture he delivered at the 7th convocation and 10th anniversary of Fountain University, Osogbo in Osun State. Speaking at the ceremony, which started with the colorful procession of the university's governing council, principal officers, invited guests and the graduating students, the EFCC boss, who was represented by his chief of staff, Olanipekun Olukoyede, said over 1 trillion naira was discovered stolen between 2006 and 2007 by just 55 persons. The money, Magu said, could fund massive infrastructural development in many sectors, as well as train over 4,000 children from primary school to the university levels with a budget of 25 million naira per student using a World Bank rate. The anti-grafts are described as disheartening how few corrupt persons are turned around to wage a war against the Commission and the administration using various means, including the same people they had impoverished. He called on all Nigerians not to leave the anti-corruption war to President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and the Commission alone, as everyone, irrespective of class or status, must lend their support to the anti-graft war with the aim of winning it. He went further that corruption could have killed Nigeria if the rate at which it was festering then had not been checked. Lamenting over the damages corruption had caused the country as a nation, Magu expressed the determination of the EFCC to carry the anti-graft war to a higher level.
The coming into being of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, at the time it did, was most germane. At a point in the history of this country, it was getting difficult, if not impossible, to do honest and legitimate business within the country and with others from outside the country. Corruption has so permeated the nation, it looked like there were no honest and decent individuals within the public service, and the culture of impunity had taken root. Massive looting of public resources and wholesale graft was the order of the day. Officers entrusted with the Commonwealth saw that as an opportunity to enrich themselves to the detriment of the poor and the impoverished masses. Public institutions were worse off, arising from the corruption that was endemic in the public service. Our public-owned educational institutions, hospitals, water boards, roads, mass transportation systems, etc., are in a sorry state because monies voted for their construction, repairs, upgrade, or supplies are criminally misappropriated and diverted by dishonest government officials. Consequently, the poor state of our education, the tragic condition in our hospitals, the dilapidated roads, and absence of germ-free water flowing from our taps are what we are reaping due to the corruption of few that have found a place in the public service.
He expressed optimism that a corruption-free Nigeria is achievable given the right leadership, such as we have today, and a citizenry that is prepared to offer the needed support and cooperation. While dismissing the allegation that the war against corruption is selective and targeted at perceived opposition, Magu told his audience that the anti-corruption crusade under his leadership was anchored on the fear of God and national interest, adding that only those who had soiled their hands in one form of corruption or the other would have a cause to fear the agency. He expressed belief that Nigeria will triumph over the numerous challenges confronting it with strong determination by the people to shun corruption of all manners given the political will of the present administration to tame the monster.
Corruption showed its head even in the fight against Boko Haram. Money meant for purchase of arms to fight the insurgents was misappropriated, misapplied, and outrightly embezzled. It is not only government-owned money that the corrupt civil servants steal or embezzle. People who had contributed to and are entitled to a pension, having retired, are subjected to untold distress and hardship at the hands of officers who extort money from them. Hundreds of pensioners have slumped and died out of frustration and stress in the process of assessing their pensions.
Also speaking at the event, Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola urged the graduating students not to rely on white-collar jobs, but develop their entrepreneurial skills and in doing so imbibe the principles of integrity, honesty, and accountability.
Corruption is a cankerworm, na cankerworm. I say na cankerworm, na cankerworm. Corruption don't finish our country. Nigeria women rise up and come together, oh yeah.
Every woman come out, but we fight corruption together, oh. Every woman fall out, but we kill corruption together, oh.
Them they thief our money, send them obodo yibo. Children they suffer every day, better school in no day. Nigeria women come, oh, women from every sector, make we fight corruption, we won't kill our country. Them go collect money for light, chop the money, light we no see. Good road and good health we no see. I said na cankerworm, na cankerworm.
Join the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. Naija, now we all know.
In order to increase public participation and the level of awareness in the fight against corruption, Ibrahim Magu, the acting chairman of the EFCC, has called on the media to take ownership of the fight, describing it as significant in the success of the war against corruption. The EFCC boss said this at a luncheon with online media managers, organized labor, and civil society organizations and other stakeholders in Abuja. Take a look. While stating the importance of the engagement, Magu said everything that is wrong with Nigeria as a country is traceable to corruption. He said the Commission cannot succeed in carrying out its mandate without the support of the media. According to him, the task of fighting corruption and financial crimes was painstaking and broad-based and should be embraced by all strata of the society, with the media serving as channel of communication and enlightenment. He went further that the media's potential to inform and educate the people is crucial for the EFCC, as the Commission on its own cannot win the war without a buy-in by the people, adding that the time had come when we must all increase the tempo of the fight and move the country to the next level.
Let's do the right thing. Why should people be doing the right thing when they go out of this country? But when they come here with impunity, all we have to demand from every Nigerian is that let us do the correct thing. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
The anti-graft czar appreciated the media for its support in the area of enlightenment and coverage of the Commission's activities, urging it to do more by exposing corrupt elements in the society, especially now that the election year draws near. He urged them to expose the corrupt, and the EFCC will come after them no matter who is involved, as nobody is above the law. Speaking at the event, Obi Ezekwesili, co-convener Bring Back Our Girls, called on EFCC not to be distracted by what she termed as forces of corruption fighting back. She called on the government to effect institutional changes and redirect its policies for a better Nigeria. Ezekwesili advised EFCC to always live above board by being transparent and fair in its dealings. She also advised the agency to always keep the public abreast of its activities by constantly updating its cases. She said in order to have a comprehensive leadway against corruption, Nigeria needed political will, which is defined as value-based leadership that sets the tone in the reorientation of the society towards a culture of intolerance for corruption.
In any comprehensive fight against corruption, you need, number one, and that's on the basis of it, you need what people just call political will. Now that political will is defined as needing a value-based leadership that sets the tone in terms of the reorientation of society towards a culture of intolerance for corruption. Do you get what I mean by that? Meaning that you have a climate of tolerance for corruption, where people actually say to you, what's your problem? And when we had corruption, people were feeding. Now that's an environment of tolerance for corruption. That nobody in a society that understands what corruption has cost them should ever say that when we had corruption, we were feeding. You were just feeding in the short term, but in the long term, feeding when you have corruption is like eating the cancer cell that will eat you up.
In his remark, Comrade Ayuba Waba, Chairman Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, commended the efforts of the EFCC in the fight against corruption. He urged Nigerians to make graft fight a matter of priority. According to him, Nigerians must be interested in naming and shaming the corrupt in our society. This, he said, is a responsibility that the civil society and labor must pursue. The NLC boss expressed the labor's preparedness to support the course of fighting corruption at all times and the strengthening of the institutions.
For us in the labor movement, particularly NLC, the fight against corruption is a priority. And I think for all Nigerians, it should also be seen as a priority. Because we have said over and over again, Nigeria is not a poor country. In fact, by all standards, Nigeria ought to be among the leading economies in the world. But part of the problem is that very few people have helped themselves to take our common wealth. That is the centrality of our problem. Anything you talk about in this country is about that centrality of that problem. And therefore, it's a priority to us. And that's why any day you call, whether in the morning or in the evening, we will be there. And that's why in the life of our administration, we have led 2 national actions to support the fight against corruption.
Also speaking, Jaye Gaska, a public affairs analyst, noted that if the fight against corruption must be won, Nigerians must be interested in the 2019 politics and make it difficult for any corrupt person to run for office. Dan Nwanyawu, former chairman of Labour Party, commended the fearlessness and doggedness of Magu in the fight against corruption, describing it as the only thing working for President Muhammadu Buhari and his government. He called on all stakeholders to support the Commission in its effort to save Nigeria and the future generation yet unborn. Loretta Onoche, special advisor to the President on social media, while commending the EFCC boss for a job well done, rallied more support for the government of President Muhammadu Buhari and urged Nigerians to stand up against corruption by preventing corrupt elements seeking elections into public offices from getting power. The event witnessed a large turnout of who is who in the social media space, and leading civil society organizations within and outside Abuja.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Thank you for staying tuned to the program The Eagle, a weekly recap of activities within the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Follow the EFCC on Twitter at official EFCC. Like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC. And to watch our videos, log on to youtube.com/official EFCC. Next on the program is our court update segment as the Supreme Court orders retrial of former Lagos State Speaker Adeyemi Ukuforiji over a 400 million naira fraud charges leveled against him by the EFCC. These and other reports will come your way shortly after this timeout. Please stay tuned. The five-man panel of the Supreme Court ordered the retrial of a former Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Ukuforiji, who was charged with an alleged fraud of about 400 million naira. The Apex Court had reserved judgment to determine whether or not Ukuforiji should be tried afresh as ordered by the Court of Appeal. The panel, headed by Justice Mary Peter Odili, unanimously ruled that the case be reassigned to another judge of the Federal High Court instead of Justice Ibrahim Buba, who had earlier absolved Ukuforiji of the charge. Justice Buba had in a ruling in September 2014 held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) failed to establish a prima facie case against Ukuforiji and his former aide, Oyebode Atoyebi. The judge had also dismissed the 56-count charge preferred against the accused persons by the EFCC. Dissatisfied with the Justice Buba's ruling, the EFCC appealed to the Court of Appeal, which upturned the ruling. The appellate court had also ordered both Ukuforiji and Atoyebi to be retried by another judge. However, in 2016, both Ukuforiji and Atoyebi, with whom he was charged in trial, had approached the Apex Court, where they filed separate appeals against the decision of the Court of Appeal. Still on Supreme Court matters, a five-man panel of justices led by Justice Zattijo Muhammad dismissed an application by Destra Investment Limited, a company belonging to Olisa Metu, challenging the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court in a case of 400 million naira fraud involving the former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Metu is standing trial on a 7-count charge of money laundering alongside his company over the 400 million naira he allegedly collected from the office of the former National Security Advisor in 2014 to campaign for former President Goodluck Jonathan. The offense breaches Section 15, subsection 2D of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011, as amended in 2012, and punishable under Section 15, subsection 3 of the same Act. Destra Investment, through its counsel, Tochukwu Nwagbufu, SAN, challenged the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to entertain counts 1 and 2 of the charge, stating that the court lacks jurisdiction to try allegations of corruption emanating from a contractual agreement. The application had earlier been dismissed by the appeal court, resulting in the further appeal to the Supreme Court. In a well-considered judgment, the court berated Onwubufu for presenting the said application before the Apex Court, despite constitutional provisions. The Apex Court also condemned the Council's action for insisting on his application despite constitutional provisions against his method of argument. According to Justice Sumai Akas, who read out the judgment, the application by Nwubufo amounted to an attempt to frustrate the ongoing trial. The judge held that, and I quote, "Whether a person or company or persons had been accused of an infraction of the law, the duty that a senior counsel owes by the privileges bestowed on him is to help the accused person or company clear their name through due legal process, and not to create the impression that his duty is to erect roadblocks to frustrate justice from running its course." End of quote. Justice Akas consequently dismissed the appeal, which he described as a storm in a teacup, and consequently referred it back to the trial court for continuation of trial. Still on court matters, in a landmark judgment, the Court of Appeal Lagos Division has upheld the order of interim forfeiture of the sum of $5.8 million and another 2.4 billion naira traced to the accounts of the wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan, Patience, to the federal government. Justice C.M.A. Olatoregun of the Federal High Court in Ikoyi, Lagos, had granted an order of interim forfeiture of the sum traced to Jonathan's account number, domiciled in the New Generation Bank, on the grounds that the money was reasonably suspected to be proceeds of unlawful activities. The judge had also granted an order of interim forfeiture of the total sum of 2.4 billion naira kept by Jonathan in an account also in the New Generation Bank in the name of Olawari Furniture and Baths Limited. The order came following an ex parte application filed by the EFCC. An operative of the commission, Musbahu Abubakar, who disposed to the affidavit, had told the court that the former First Lady opened the bank accounts on 7 February 2013. Abubakar had also told Justice Olatoregun that the former First Lady made several United States dollars cash deposits into the accounts through Warikpaima Owe Dudafa, a former aide to Goodluck Jonathan, and the State House steward Festus Iyoha. Moving the application for the temporary forfeiture of the money, counsel to the EFCC Rotimi Oyedepo had prayed the court to urgently freeze the account so as to prevent her from moving the funds. In her ruling, Justice Olatoregun had granted the prayers of the EFCC counsel and directed Jonathan to show cause why the money should not be finally forfeited to the federal government. However, the former First Lady, through a team of lawyers led by both Mike Ozekome SAN and I.E. Adedekbi, approached the appellate court to set aside the order of the lower court. Jonathan's lawyer also urged the Court of Appeal to declare as unconstitutional the provisions of Section 17 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act 2006. However, the Appellate Court of Appeal, presided over by Justice Mojid A. Owade, upheld both the constitutionality of the Section 17 and the order of the interim forfeiture of the various sums of money belonging to Jonathan. And now to details of proceeding as the EFCC rearraigns Jumoke Akinjide, a former Minister of State of the FCT. Akinjide was arraigned alongside a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alison Madueke, and two others on the 24 counts charged before Justice Muslim Hassan of a Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. Please stay tuned for more details. Akinjide and others, namely Senator Ayo Adeshegun and Chief Olanrewaju Titi, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), were accused by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for conspiring to directly take possession of 650 million naira, which they reasonably ought to have known forms part of the proceeds of an unlawful act. The defenders allegedly received the money from Desiani Alison Madueke, a former Minister of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria, in the build-up of the 2015 general election, which is said to be part of a large sum of over $100 million allegedly doled out by Alison Madueke to influence the outcome of the 2015 presidential election. The anti-graft agency claimed that they ought to have reasonably known that the money formed part of proceeds of an unlawful act. The EFCC had arraigned the defendants in 2017 before Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik, sitting at the Federal High Court, Ibadan, but the case was transferred to Lagos and hence the rearrangement. Akinjide was rearranged on a 9-count charge out of the 24 counts charges to which she pleaded not guilty. The second defendant, Senator Ayo Adeseun, also pleaded not guilty to 17 out of the 24 counts charge made against him, while the third defendant, Chief Olanrewaju Otiti, also entered a not guilty plea to 6 out of the counts. EFCC counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, while addressing the court, said defendants acted contrary to Section 18, subsection A of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2012 and were liable to punishment under Section 15, subsection 3 and 4 of the same Act. Akinjide was said to have allegedly given the cash of over 100 million naira to Oti and another 134 million naira to Adeseun out of the 650 million naira on March 26, 2015. The EFCC also alleged that Akinjide gave the sum of 26 million naira cash to one Ayoka Lawani, 56 million to Alhaji Kumi Mustafa, 28 million to one Honorable Muraino Ajibola, 16 million to Honorable Yinka Taiwo, and another 10 million to Prince Ayuba. Oyedepo said the cash payments exceeded the threshold stipulated by the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2012. In arguing for bail for his clients, counsel to Akinjide Bolaji Ayorinde SAN asked the court to allow his client to continue to enjoy the bail earlier granted by the Federal High Court in Ibadan. Counsel to the second and third defendant all aligned themselves with his request on behalf of their clients. Justice Hassan granted the request and adjourned the trial to February 5th, 2018. And that brings us to the end of the program this week. Please join us again next time for another interesting package. To be part of the program, like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC. You can also drop a comment by sending an email to us via theeagle@efccnigeria.org or follow us on Twitter @official EFCC. My name is Aisha Gambari. Thanking you for watching and God bless Nigeria.